What is up, everyone? Travedo here. I want to talk about one of the big races in Dragon Ball Super, and that's the Namekian race. The Namekian race has been with us since the beginning of the Dragon Ball series. Going back to King Piccolo, Kami, Piccolo, and as of late, we know that there are Namekians in universes 6 and 7. We got introduced to a couple new ones. And I want to talk about the original Namekian, how it could actually be Zalama, the creator of the Dragon Balls. And also, too, I'd like to talk about how the Namekians may be, if they are especially related to Zalama, they are a godly race. So I'm going to be saying things from the anime. That's where I'm going to get my references from, what we've seen in the anime on why these are, pretty valid points. So let's begin. Number one, as we understand from the Namekians, they take on natural roles. Now, we know that they have the Dragon Clan and like Warrior Clan on planet Namek that we saw in Dragon Ball Z. But if you look at planet Earth itself, what happened when the nameless Namekian, the first original fusion of Kami and Piccolo, when he came down and split apart, they naturally became, Demon King Piccolo, and then Kami, Guardian of the Earth. That's almost similar to a God of Destruction type role, and also, a Kai role, a Kaioshin role, where, the Kai is supposed to be a guardian of, their universe, and the God of Destruction is a destroyer. Similarly, with Kami and Piccolo, if one died, the other would disappear. It's the exact same way that the God of Destruction and Supreme Kai relationship works. If one dies, one passes away. Also, too, Dende was another one that when he went to Earth, automatically took on the role of Guardian of the Earth. It seems like it's like a natural instinct or intuition for them to want to get into these roles. Also, too, when you think about the anime and times where nobody knew who some of the gods were, like when the Supreme Kai first came in, and the Supreme Kai revealed himself in one of the World Martial Arts tournaments over in the Buu Saga, and Piccolo went up to go fight the Supreme Kai. I mean, he was freaking out. He sensed his energy. He knew it was the Supreme Kai right away. Somebody that had not been seen. From what we know also, it's somebody that Piccolo had not seen ever before. Now, we do know that Namekians are able to maintain, some memories from their past lives. So maybe that's how we saw him. However, either way, he was also able to read Beerus's energy. Dende was also able to read Beerus's energy, and God Ki is supposed to be energy that normal mortals they cannot sense. They cannot, understand what it is, and that's why nobody else. When they try to describe what they're feeling, like Trunks, when he felt Vegeta's Super Saiyan Blue energy, he's like, oh, what's his pressure? A lot of people just describe the energy as a pressure, but they didn't know if it was godly or not. Sure, later on in the anime of Dragon Ball Super, Frieza was able to feel the Hakai energy that was sent to destroy him from Sidra, but and then he was able to recognize it came from a God of Destruction. However, that was a pretty unique case. Other than that, the only people that we saw able to recognize what God Ki was and who the gods were Namekians, Dende and Piccolo. So for them to have that connection, that suggests that they could be gods themselves. So they have the roles. They also are able to sense the God Ki. On top of that, let's think about their fusions for a second. When they fuse together, it's a permanent fusion, just like any god when a god fuses. Now, we haven't seen, Piccolo do a bunch of fusion dances or anything, but from what we know, Namekian to Namekian fusion is a permanent fusion. And that's how it is when two gods fuse together. When two normal mortals fuse together, it's not permanent, as we know. There's a time limit to that, even if you're wearing the Patara earrings. So for the Namekians to not even need Patara earrings to fuse together in a permanent fusion, I think that that goes a long way to suggest that clearly they have godly powers or are godly beings. They can also create the Dragon Balls. Now, this is where Zalama gets tied in because he's the creator of the Super Dragon Balls. So, if Namekians are known as the only race to be able to create Dragon Balls, Zalama most likely is a Namekian, which makes things really interesting because it makes me wonder what his role was in, like the creation of the universes, just the history of it all, like his involvement in, or Namekian involvement in prior wars and stuff. As we know that there is a Namekian Book of Secrets which told the tales of the Super Saiyan God, the original Super Saiyan God. So, the Namekians have been around for a while. The Namekian Book of Secrets, I really hope that one day that can be revealed and the secrets in it can be revealed because clearly the Namekians have played a huge role in the Dragon Ball multiverse history. So, with that being said, too, if we look at the Dragon Balls are able to do extremely super powerful things that we only know the angels can do, and also basically the Omni King. Like the Dragon Balls have the powers of the highest beings of the universe. They can also override the powers of the Omni King, who is said to be the most powerful being and has unlimited power, essentially, from what we know. He's basically a destroyer himself. However, we know from the Tournament of Power, which hopefully you guys have seen the Tournament of Power. If you haven't, spoiler alert if you haven't. But either way, the Dragon Balls can bring people back to life. Okay. And being able to do that is pretty crazy. Also, too, as we saw the Elder Kai on his planet, he was able to unlock powers. He had to do like a ritual. All right, he had to do some sort of ritual with Gohan in order to unlock his potential. But Grand Elder Guru on planet Namek, he was able to increase and unlock Krillin's powers and Gohan's powers just by putting his hand on their head. No ritual needed. So that's like the only time, correct me if I'm wrong, that we've seen a character able to unlock another character's potential due to like some sort of ritual or through their own power. And the Elder Kai is a god, so if Grand Elder Guru can do the same thing and he doesn't even need a ritual, that would almost suggest like he's clearly, as far as like that godly power is concerned, around the same level or even higher. So speaking of power levels too, the Namekians, they're no joke. As we saw from Nail, who I loved Nail, by the way, Nail was really powerful. Piccolo's pretty powerful too. And when they fuse together, their power increases so much. Depending on who they're fusing with, their power level can go 10, 20 times over, which is pretty significant. Who knows? They could actually end up getting even more powerful than that. As we saw in the Tournament of Power, the two Namekians that showed up in the tournament, they actually fused with their fighters. So their Namekians were probably like the planet Namek Namekians, like over in Universe 7, where their power levels were like in the low couple hundreds and stuff for the most part. But either way, like for them to end up putting up a decent fight against Piccolo and Gohan and getting their power levels like basically to the millions, just from those fusions, it kind of rolls with the theory that if you guys read Dragon Ball Multiverse Online, in that online fan comic, there's a Namekian called Gast, and Gast is actually the creation of all the Namekians from planet Namek. And in that story, it basically shows how on planet Namek, they all fused together and they took out Frieza by themselves. They ended up getting even more powerful later on through training and stuff. But if you got all those Namekians or different skills, their ability to like just heal. I mean, they're healers. They can unlock powers. They can fuse. They can regenerate. They have so much mental powers. They can hear really well. I mean, they really are like freaks in comparison to everybody else, and the only race of beings that do things equivalent to them for the most part are the gods, like the Kaioshin and stuff. So the original Namekian, it makes me wonder how powerful he was. If it was Zalama, was he stronger than the Omni King, for example? Because we know that the Namekians, how they reproduce is asexually, and they spit out an egg. And it seems like every time they spit out the egg, they lose like some life force or their power level goes down or something. Like, it doesn't seem like if they continue doing that, they're not benefiting from it, other than the fact that they're having offspring, and maybe that offspring can get more powerful. But the offspring, if they do take a little piece of the Namekian's life force, who's breeding them, if Zalama was the one that created the Namekians that we saw, like Grand Elder Guru, the Nameless Namekian, maybe even Namekians before that, it makes me wonder if they all fused again, would they basically become Zalama? That's kind of like what it seems like, where when the Namekians, they fuse together, it's like they become closer to like the perfect Namekian being. The Namekians, when they breed, obviously they turn into like their different classes. Like they have the dragon clan, so they have like healers, there's warriors. So it's like they only get specific traits passed down to each of them. So obviously, if you get like a warrior and a healer to fuse together, now you have a more complete Namekian. So that's where I'm getting at, where if all the Namekians fuse, would that basically be the closest thing to Zalama? It makes me wonder how powerful he could be. And also, too, it makes me wonder if Zalama, if maybe he was eradicated, or if he's possibly still alive. Like, as we know in the Dragon Ball Super movie that's coming out in December, I'm making this in May of 2018. The movie comes out in December 2018. We're gonna get a good glimpse of the Saiyan history and the original Super Saiyan God and all that lore, which is really cool. But I really wonder, and I'm really curious about how the Namekian gods, like, there has to be some sort of Namekian godly transformation. I know that they haven't specifically said that they're a race of gods, but clearly, like, from what I've said, let me know if you agree with me or not, but the Namekians pretty much seem like godly beings, and they clearly, I feel like there's enough evidence to suggest that they have a connection to Zalama, who should be considered, the dragon god, the god who created the Super Dragon Balls, and then created this race of beings with all these powers. So let me know what you think about my theory. Let me know what you think about my thoughts. If you liked anything I had to say, please please subscribe. This channel's like primarily Dragon Ball, but I'm doing other anime now, Pokemon and stuff. So yeah, if you liked anything I had to say, please please subscribe, and I can't wait to talk to y'all about Dragon Ball next time.